Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Embracing the Simple Life podcast. I'm Ann Clay from the YouTube channel, Ann Clay, the Primitive Home, and I'm here with my co-host.
I am Julie from Julie, Keeper of My Home. Happy to be here.
Happy to have you. And here we are again in our pajamas.
No one would ever know that, you know.
I know, but we're covered. We're good. Yeah, so last week we were talking about just a little bit of everything and chicken coops and firewood and sending notes. We're not going to talk about sending notes today, Julie. We have to think about something else. Now, I have been thinking about something today. I'm going through my house again and decluttering. You know how I've been talked about the decluttering all last year, and I really stayed very decluttered. There are a few rooms that I have more in it than other rooms, but most of it is pretty decluttered. But I have been reading a book by Judy Condon, and I'm going to talk about it on my YouTube channel sometime, but it's called A Primer for Country Dwelling. Do you have this book?
I don't have that one. I have quite a few of her books, but I don't have that one.
Do you have her book on authenticating a country dwelling?
I don't. I just have like the decorating ones.
Okay. So this is Alice's book. She lent it to me and I've been reading it. Yeah, it's an easy read because it has a lot of pictures, but she's talking about the difference between authenticating and decorating. Okay. So here's like the thing. You can't put that wonderful oil lamp that we like to use in next to lanterns because it causes a cognitive dissonance if you want to be authentic. Now, if you want to decorate, no one cares. But if you want to be authentic, you're in like 100 years different time period. And it kind of causes issues. Unless, of course, you're working backward. Whoops, I just lost our picture. Sorry. Unless of course you're working backwards. So it's like anachronistic. Like I'm sitting in this chair, but I have these earphones on and these modern sunglasses, and I have, you know, clothing purchased in the 2000s. That's very anachronistic because this chair would have been something that would have been over in the 1700s, right? So it's kind of like that with your decorating, that if you mix things, you're kind of screwing up with the authentic nature of your decor. And a lot of people can't do an authentic looking decor because say they live in a 1980s house and they want their home to look like it's 1700s. There's going to be some cognitive dissonance with that because their windows are going to be wrong, and you know they might have wall-to-wall carpeting or their floors are wrong, the wrong kind of hardwoods, and so then you're just decorating. But I'm thinking in this 1780 house, I should be authenticating. So that has caused issue with me because I really want to authenticate, but I have stuff from all different time periods, like, you know, things I treasure, like the photographs of my family that are from the early 1900s or the late 1800s. Well, if I put that next to a primitive 1700s painting, I've kind of killed my authentic look. What do you think about
let me solve your problem.
Oh, you can solve it? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Authenticate, choose a room or a couple of rooms to authenticate and do it in those rooms.
That's kind of where I've been.
Still, at the end of the day, we have to live in our modern world.
Right.
There is no way to go back to that without having something that belongs in this world. It doesn't belong in the past.
Well, did you see my video of Karen's home, right? Who does it very, you know, she's real gritty prim, and her whole downstairs that I did was pretty authenticated, except for where she had her kitchen sink or her, what else did she have? In her bathroom, you can see her washer and dryer, although she was talking about covering it. But she did a pretty good job of authenticating through the whole downstairs.
I think for me, that would be too much work, too much time, and too much money. But that's my opinion.
Right.
If I wanted to do it, I would choose to do it at a slow pace, a little bit at a time, or small level of just
Uh-huh.
starting with one room. Work
Mhm.
on see how well you can do it in that one room.
Yeah.
See if it's something you feel you can keep up with. If it is, move on to room number 2 and do the same thing with that, and just do what you can. I have a friend that lived in a home that was authentic. I mean, it right from the floor to ceiling. They were the old pumpkin pine floors.
Mhm.
Absolutely stunning. I mean, everything. She moved into that home is built in 17 something.
Okay.
And it was one of the first houses in town that she lived in. And that place, it was a dream home. Every time I went to visit her, I'd be like, oh my gosh, look at this place. She had 5 fireplaces, 5 working fireplaces with beehive ovens. All of them worked. She had the original cage bar. Yeah,
Mm. Ooh.
she had, I mean, it was so authentic. Every ounce of that house, the stairway that kind of wrapped going around the chimney up to the upstairs. I mean, it was absolutely stunning. And she kept it perfect with her, the linens, the quilts, the chairs that she used to have hold classes in her home, and she would do rug hooking by the fire. People would come in. She'd have so many people at a time. And they'd sit in these chairs in this authentic room, and they would do rug hooking, which she had all of those hooked rugs. She had so many she'd done over the years all around her house that she used all the time. I mean, it was just absolutely stunning, to the point where how she would access her plumbing, she would work around modern amenities to make it look as authentic as she could possibly get it to look. And
Wow.
I mean, it was beautiful, but she
Wow.
had one room in that house that was not. You walked into that room and it was like, oh, it was the leather recliner, the sectional sofa, the big screen TV. She said, yes, this is my husband's room. So, just work at it a little bit at a time. Find one room. Maybe you want to find the tavern room would be awesome. That would be the best room to start with. I would so start with that room,
Mhm.
and make that into an authentic room. Work with that, live with it for a while, see
Mhm.
how you feel about it, and then go from there.
Well, that's exactly what I've been doing. And I've been trying to authenticate the room, although, it takes time, because to authenticate a room, you have to find just the right pieces of furniture.
Mhm.
So you have to find them and be able to afford them and get them home and put them in your home. So
Yeah.
it's quite a process. Um,
Yeah.
like right now I have the spool tables that I made in my tavern. And suddenly I decided I didn't like those chairs anymore. So they're all sitting in another room right now. And they're going to go to the barn when we can get through the 2 feet of snow to get to the barn. But they're rustic enough. So I'm working with them right now. But again, it's going to be a process to be able to totally authenticate. That woman's house that you're talking about, that sounds like a dream. I'm absolutely drooling when I'm
It,
thinking about it. Yeah.
she sold it. She sold it. And her heart was absolutely broken to sell it.
Oh,
And somebody had bought it. They had just seen pictures. They lived in, oh my gosh, it was like some state over in the Midwest. They had seen it online and bought it just
wow.
from seeing the pictures online.
Yeah.
And they moved back to their home state of Connecticut to be closer to their kids and their grandkids. And they were there about a year. They lived in a condo. After living in that house, they moved into a condo.
Oh no.
And they lived there for about a year, and then just decided that bug was just kind of, tickling them again, of, needing to live that life again. And they
Mhm.
moved back in that an area near where they had lived, and they bought a house, and it's not as old as the other one, but they're working at making it look as old as that one.
Wow. Oh,
Yeah.
wow. See,
So
that's
it's just,
amazing.
it's quite a story. And I'm just so blessed to have been able to have met her. And we actually met on Craigslist.
Hmm.
Because she was selling my chairs that I have here that are authentic. I have two of them. I have a gentleman's chair and a lady's chair, and both of them were, we bought them from her. So
Wow.
they're not the reproduction, I
Mhm,
guess you could say. They're not assembly line furniture.
mhm.
And they're signed pieces of furniture, and we bought them from her, and for like such little money. It was just crazy. And we just became good friends after that. We just
Wow.
stayed in touch. We still keep in touch.
Wow.
Mail.
Snail mail. Well, I think about Alice's home is very well done, authenticated. Now her home
It is.
is a new home, but she's used a lot of older items from the house that they tore down, and it's very authentic. She's got that fridge hidden. She's even in every room. She has a story going on, or multiple stories, so you feel like somebody from the old past is living there. And I'm going to keep talking while Julie runs away. I think about how she's making the stories on the desks or and the tavern tables. And she has that one room. She has that one room that is her husband's, right? And he is allowed to have his huge big screen TV, and they have a sectional in there. And that's kind of the room where they will all gather together. But most of her home is authenticated. So she's actually the one that loaned me the book. I think about Karen's home. That is very authenticated too, with the more primitive style. It's interesting that she's been able to carve that out of that old schoolhouse. I find that really fascinating. And then I think of Lainey's home. So Lainey's home is a newer home built in an older style, except it has that big high modern um sky ceiling in the dining room area. And she's got a lot of authentic pieces, and then she's got a mixture with some more, she's put some farmhouse in and some pretty fun things, because she has a beautiful store. And I think about how that works really well too. So she's more decorated but not authenticated, you know what I'm saying? And I
Mhm.
guess we can all have a mixture of both. um I would like to
Yeah, I don't.
authenticate tavern. Yeah.
I'm not authenticated. I'm not farmhouse. I'm just kind of what I am.
Right.
I don't have a lot of the stuff that we have are antiques. We use them.
Hmm.
Or what I couldn't afford, I made. But I'm not. I One thing I do not do, I absolutely do not do, is I don't follow the trends.
Right.
So
Right.
I don't follow decorating trends, any of
Well,
them.
yeah. If you follow the trends now, you'd be farmhouse, right? But I think
Yeah.
farmhouse is going to go out, and then what?
Yeah, I think Scandinavian is coming in right now.
That's right.
That's starting to
Scandy.
become really big.
That's right.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's just it's expensive, for one thing, for people to follow the trends all the time.
Hmm.
That's a lot of money. This
Hmm.
one goes out, so let's follow that. I'm not a cookie cutter person. I'm just
No.
not. I never have been. And I like what I like. I like the past. I enjoy days of old. I enjoy the old ways.
But so
I
how old are
enjoy
we talking, Julie? Are we talking 1700s, 1800s, early 1900s? Or are you lumping that
all
into
of
the
it.
old? Okay.
All of it. Yeah,
Yeah.
anything with a story from the past,
Hmm.
from the way past. And I'm not
Hmm.
talking about 60s, 70s. I'm talking about, way beyond that. I love
Right.
the time. It tells a story of the time that someone took to prepare bread in a way that we don't do anymore, or
Hmm.
make butter.
Hmm.
Not many people do that anymore, or
Hmm.
just those things are gone.
Mhm.
And I think that that's why I know you love that time period. And I
Mhm.
think that's why you surround yourself with it. And
Mhm.
so, doing this the way that you want to do it, authenticating, I think that's perfect for you
Mhm.
because like you, I love to surround myself with it because it's like a hug from the past.
Right. Right.
It's just for me, it's just I feel all the warmth of the stories and the
Yeah.
time and all of that. And I love it. And I
Yeah.
feel so enveloped in it.
Yep.
So I think for you, that's such a fabulous thing to do for your home.
I think so. Ironically, when I moved into this home, the former owner had it authenticated. I mean, she really did. But she had so many Crocs and she had like these old tables and she didn't have that much furniture in every room by the time I saw it. Now she might have before, she put it on the market. But I remember walking in here and feeling like I was at Sturbridge Village. And it was such an amazing feeling. And everything was old and authentic. And I wanted this home so badly. And when I moved in, I ruined it. I ruined my authenticating because I looked around and I'm like, wow, this stuff hasn't been painted in 20 years. I better paint it. Or I wanted to bring more comfort into the home because I didn't feel like on those old tables you could really sit down and enjoy a comfortable whatever.
Mhm.
And then I had a lot of more modern pieces because I lived in a home that was I
You're very
decorated.
artsy.
Yes, I'm artsy and I decorate according to where I am. I've been living in more modern homes or even 1930s homes. And I'm kind of New York. I've got a New York chic thing going, because I grew up there. So I ruined it, but I also didn't have the pieces that they had, right? And so I ended up getting a lot of pieces for this house given to me from my cousin who had been collecting them, and they were all different period pieces. And so that's what dictated my decorating. And as I've lived here, I've started to acquire things like this, that I want to go in the house I want to go in, but it takes a long time. And a lot of money to authenticate, really, you
I
know?
think when the best advice to give to someone when they move into a place like you did and you'd looked around and you'd seen all these things you want to change. I think the best advice is to live with it for a little while,
Yep.
like longer than a week or 2 weeks or, sometimes maybe a year, live with it
Yep.
and really get to know that space.
Hmm.
And I think that it can grow on you. Maybe you can decide that I could live with the
Hmm.
way she had it
Hmm.
before.
Yeah.
Or, maybe that unpainted surface, that doesn't look so bad to me. It looks pretty good. I can get used to
Hmm.
that.
Hmm.
I think that we have to live with it because it's not the norm. It's not what
Right.
we're used to. And if you
Yep.
really can't stand it, then you really know you
Yep.
need to change it.
Yep. That's really good advice. I should have met you 5 years ago because I think I started painting within 2 weeks because that's what I do.
Oh, yeah.
And now I'm thinking, why did I do that? I had that aged look on my walls already, and I went and changed it and brightened it up, and I feel badly about that because now I have to age it back down again. So, but I've changed. I'm changing as I do my channel. I'm changing as I learn more things. I am right now. I have my computer set up on this old table that's put together with pegs, and you can't see it, but it's super old. And I purchased this years ago, and it's got, those legs that do this.
Yeah.
I don't know what the name of those legs are, but I bought this years ago, and this turns out to be the best piece of furniture for this house. And it's gone with me in about 5 houses now, and I love it. And I wish that I had more of that kind of thing. But I forgot where I was going with this.
Well, you didn't live with your house
I didn't
long
live with
enough
my
to know that
house.
style.
I didn't live with my house, and I didn't think that it was achievable for me. I thought that, buying the house cost enough money. So I didn't think I'd ever be able to buy any furniture. So I'd have to make it work with the furniture that I was given. And maybe that's where I'm going with this. So yeah, it's really best if you buy an old house to just live in it and not start doing all your redo things unless they've modernized it. This house was not modernized, fortunately. So
Oh, it's a beautiful home.
yeah.
And that would be a sawbuck table.
Sawbuck table. Thank you. Thank you. That's good. Yes, I love my sawbuck table. I would like more sawbuck tables.
So would
So,
I.
yeah. This one I got for $70 at Burnout Antiques years ago. I just saw it and bought it. And that was like a lot of money for me. $70. I spent $70 on a table. That was huge.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Well, it does take, I told somebody, they described my taste as looking like somebody who didn't have a lot of money because everything was scratched and worn and not looking so nice. And I said, well, let me just say, it costs a lot of money to look poor. And it does,
yeah.
to have that look, because
Yeah.
unless you're buying reproduction,
Right.
we've been fortunate. We've come across a lot of this stuff. It's been given, or, we've just happened along, find it and just, be really fortunate. I have a beautiful, beautiful dough bowl that's just gorgeous. And it is very old and very worn. And I paid $15 for it. And it's huge.
Wow.
And the person that sold it was just like, I don't know, it's just some wooden box. It's just, $15.
Wow.
I'm like, oh,
wow. This is killing me.
yeah. So, I mean, they didn't know what it was. They didn't, it wasn't it was something that they cared for. So, they were just getting rid of it. And
Yeah. Wow. And it got a new home. Yeah. Sometimes you get lucky like that,
yeah.
but other times you've got to pay for it. and
Yeah. And it's
yeah,
expensive, and
it
it's
is.
not, I mean, I guess I have made a lot of things that I do like that I can afford. And I know not everybody can make those things either, but I'm just that stubborn person who refuses to spend the money on it and would rather buy the wood, make it myself, and make it look old and
Yeah.
spend a lot less money doing that.
Right. Right. No, that makes sense. Yeah. Yeah. I think authenticating though versus decorating it's an interesting discussion. I thought I found it to be interesting.
Yeah,
And
I think a lot of people probably don't even realize that it is a thing.
yeah. Yeah, because a lot of people will just go to the store, buy something they like and bring it home. And that's okay too. That's
Mm,
decorating. Like I'm thinking about cousin Mel decorates, right? She's doing it in the farmhouse style. She is the same aged home as me, but very different looking, right?
mhm.
And part of it is it's an apartment. It's been wallpapered, say in the 80s. She's got a different, brighter look to thing, her whole house is brighter. It's bigger windows. It's just kind of a brighter place. And so she's found antiques, and a lot of them are vintage, we're talking
Mm,
50s, 60s, right? And put those antiques in her house and worked it all together in a decorating way, but it wouldn't be an authentic, you're walking into a certain time period. You're walking into a decorated house.
right.
Right?
I
So,
don't even remember the last time I bought a decoration.
hmm, hmm,
I don't buy decorations, I guess. I'm not a
yeah,
decorate person.
interesting.
Um, I don't know, what I have is all family heirloom type stuff, or, you know, uh, stuff you buy at like an auction or
Right.
estate sale, or that's
Yeah.
kind of my decorating.
But that's
I'm
okay.
not,
You
yeah.
can go broke buying a whole bunch of decorations, especially if they're trendy. I
Well,
when
and
I
that's
went
the
with
thing. Yeah.
like
I
going
know
with
people,
farmhouse
there's
or
there's a lot of people who will, I know a lot of people who do this, and I've often questioned, why do they want to do it this way? But to
yeah.
each their own. I'm not saying that they're wrong or right, or
Right,
I'm wrong
right,
or right.
right.
It's whatever you want to do. But I know a lot of people who will buy decorations, and then they'll sell them or give them away, get rid of them, whatever. And the next year they're doing something completely different,
Mm-hmm,
because they're following a trend.
mm-hmm.
Or I think sometimes they're doing it because they don't really know their style, so they follow what
Mm,
everybody else is
yeah.
doing, because maybe
Yeah.
that's what I'm supposed to be doing. You know what I mean? Because it
Right.
feels right to them.
Right.
I think if you sat down and really thought about it, there would be more than just farmhouse style, modern farmhouse, more than just vintage, and more than Scandinavian, because each person brings their own gift and style to a decorating style.
Yeah. Yeah. That's really true. But that means, well, think about all the magazines that are sold, or ways that people are pushing like one style. Like I just think of Fixer Upper, how popular that was, and we all love that, and we all love Chip and
Yeah.
JoJo, and we love the ideas that we get. But I think we all have to take it a step further and make it our own. And I don't want to be even a cookie cutter authentic house, and I think that we can fall into that when we get too into the decorating. We really have to figure out who we are. It's a really good point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that that's when you become okay with not following the trends, or not getting the latest gadget, or
I think,
shopping the in-store, or falling into the Magnolia effect.
right. I think though that takes a certain amount of security and your decorating. I think that a lot of people are insecure about, am I doing it right? Does this look good? I don't know what looks good. Is it okay to do this? And there is nothing wrong with being insecure about it, but it's good then to educate ourselves into maybe some of the design concepts, instead of just, because you can buy all the greatest things in the store and take them home and put them out, and they're not going to look good unless you know how to decorate with them. And,
Right.
That's a lot of why I do my channel, to try to help people figure
And I
out
think that
what
it
looks right.
does help a lot of
Yeah.
people. I think that it does,
Yeah.
because like you said, people, they see that and they're so inspired with what they see in the magazine or in the store ad, or
Right.
the display in the store. And they think,
Right.
oh my gosh, I love that. I want to do that. And they bring it home and they're like, I don't have that house. It's not going to look the same. I don't have
I
that
know the
bed.
same. Right. Right.
That sofa doesn't look like mine.
Right.
I don't
Exactly.
have that gallery wall. How am I going to do this? And then,
Right.
you become paralyzed,
Yeah.
and you don't know what to do. So that's what people like you are for.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
for me, I don't know. I don't think that people necessarily should be saying, how do I do this? Or, how do I do it like so-and-so? Or how did they do this? How did they get this to look this way? I think, or does this look okay? Does this look, bad? Or did I do this right? Does it look good to you? It's your home. Do you like it?
Right.
Do you feel good with it? Does it work for you?
Right. Right.
Those are the questions that you need to ask.
Right. Right.
Because then it's right for your home, because what's right for you isn't going to be right for somebody else. You may like the same style, but maybe not the same ways to decorate in that style.
That's very true, except that I've seen people who maybe, will use, let's say, a picture on a wall, and the picture is too small for that wall, right? And they're like, I don't understand it. I love this picture. Why doesn't this look good? They don't understand, because they're looking at the picture and they're like, that looked really pretty, but they're not thinking, oh, but the wall that picture was on was a lot smaller, and it's filled the space better. So, there's some tips like that we can help people with, where they go, oh, that's what it is, where they're not thinking that way,
Right.
Yeah.
And I think, and that's, where channels like yours comes in. You're showing people, this is what you do with this. This is how you want to make sure scale, you're teaching scale,
Right.
all of those things, because they do
Right.
matter.
Yeah, they do.
But it doesn't necessarily mean that because one person puts that picture on that wall, that the next person can't put that picture inside that bird cage.
Right. Right.
Or on that mantle.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Maybe one doesn't like it that way, but they like it this way.
Yeah. Yeah. And that leads me to another thought is I always tell people that just because you liked it better this way when you saw someone decorate with it, doesn't mean you can't change it and play and do some things. And maybe when I put the witch against this wall, she doesn't look as good as she does against that wall, but it's the whole picture of the room and what it's looking like. So, you know, we can change.
Yeah. And,
Yeah.
you know, I mean, darn good you're here because you've helped a lot of people.
Well, it's good they're watching me. I'm thankful.
Yeah.
Thank you for watching me, because else I'm just speaking to the wind.
Yeah. And you know,
But
all of you out there that are watching Anne's channel or my channel, be sure that you do give Anne or I a thumbs up, because I think that some people don't realize how YouTube works.
yeah,
YouTube
yeah,
likes the interaction. They
yeah,
like to see something going on between the two, the channel and that person. Because if they see interaction and they see all that going on, the comments on that, you know, they feel like, oh, well, this person brings value to YouTube. And so they are going to put that person out there to a larger audience because they do have control. We
yeah,
don't.
yeah.
YouTube has control.
Mm-hmm.
And if, you know, they put us out there to where they want us to be.
Mm-hmm.
And so the more of the thumbs up, the comments, you know, those things, that all helps. That
Yeah,
all helps.
yeah,
And
it does.
I think people just don't understand how that works. It's really a tough industry.
Mm-hmm.
And even I'm learning
Mm-hmm.
as I go a lot more, you know, all the time. It you know, the analytics of everything is quite
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah, yeah. And we appreciate you guys watching us. I mean, really, thank you so much. Watch, like, subscribe, do all those things, because it really does help. It really
Yeah,
does
it
help.
does.
And
Throw
it
us
helps
onto your
our
social.
morale too.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, well,
Yeah.
let's face it, you spend 8 hours on a video and then, you know, 5 people watch it. You're like, what? Not that we only have 5 people watching it, but you know what I'm saying.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
You
it's
know?
hard. You put a lot of heart and soul into it.
Mhm.
And I absolutely love every bit of it. I love it. I love it. It feeds my creative bone.
Mhm.
And you know, you have a funny bone, I have a create bone. So it feeds that. And
Mhm.
you know, to keep going,
Mhm.
those
Yeah.
things help, because it really helps YouTube to say, oh, she's beneficial to our platform. We're
Mhm.
going to move her out there and,
Mhm.
you know, put her out into a larger viewing audience. And, you know, you get out there, you're able to pull in more subscribers and more viewers. And, you know, it
Yeah.
helps. And we appreciate everybody so very, very much.
So
And,
much.
you know, it's overwhelming sometimes. You think these people want to sit and watch you, and you know that they feel that you're bringing value to them, and that means a lot. That means
It
a
really
lot.
does. It really does. So, and it helps us when you tell us what will bring value. That helps too. You know,
Yeah.
that helps a lot, because then we know what to do, because we're really not doing it for ourselves. You know, we're
No,
really not.
we're absolutely doing it for you guys. Absolutely. Because we
Yeah.
would not be here if it weren't for you.
No, we wouldn't. We wouldn't. That's spoken like it was when we both first started videos and we had to bribe our family members to watch it. So, you know, I'll invite you over for dinner this week if you'll just watch my video and like it and make a comment. Please make a comment. Yeah. So, guys,
Yeah,
this
our
was
youngest son said to me, he said, yeah, sure, I'll subscribe, but I can't promise I'm going to be watching anything.
oh yeah, no, that's so true. Oh, Julie, this was so much fun. Thank you so much for hopping on and, you know, giving us your wisdom as always.
Thank you so much for calling and texting, or, you know, the social media thing.
It's my way. Okay. So, all of you, thank you for listening to us. We love you and we'll catch you another time. Take care.
See ya.